Beneath the bustling city streets, beneath the rhythmic heartbeat of the countless clocks that governed every moment of life above, lay a secret long forgotten by the citizens who walked unaware. Elian and Myra stood at the threshold of that secret, the air thick with the scent of cold stone and ancient oil, their lanterns casting trembling shadows against the curved walls of the spiraling iron staircase. "Are you sure this is the way?" Myra's voice barely rose above a whisper, her eyes scanning the darkness as they descended. The faint hum of machinery thrummed faintly beneath their feet, a living pulse that resonated deep within Elian's chest. "The broken timepiece led me here," Elian replied, his fingers tracing the worn handrail. "There has to be something hidden beneath the workshop, something Master Kaldor won't tell us." The spiral staircase ended abruptly at a heavy iron door, covered in intricate engravings of gears and arcane symbols. Elian pressed his palm against the cool metal, feeling the faint vibration of the mechanisms beyond. With a soft creak, the door swung open, revealing a cavernous chamber bathed in a pale, golden glow, emanating from luminescent crystals embedded in the walls. Inside, towering clockworks rose like ancient sentinels, their massive cogs interlocking with painstaking precision. The room echoed with the slow, steady tick of 1,000 synchronized clocks, a sound at once soothing and ominous. Dust motes danced in the lantern light, swirling around inscriptions carved deep into the stone floor and walls, arcane scripts blending mechanical schematics with cryptic runes. "Look at this," Elian murmured, crouching to examine the carvings. "It's a recorder map of sorts. These symbols, they speak of binding, of life force entwined with the clocks themselves." Myra knelt beside him, her eyes narrowing as she studied the inscriptions. "Binding their souls to the timepieces. That's impossible. Or worse, it's the curse." A sudden click echoed through the chamber as Myra's hand brushed a hidden lever concealed beneath a gear-shaped relief. The intricate mechanisms groaned to life, and before them, a shimmering projection flickered into existence, a trio of colossal mechanical gods, their forms both majestic and terrifying. They stood intertwined with the flow of time itself, clock faces for eyes, their bodies crafted from gears and enchanted metal, radiating an aura of cold dominion. Elian's breath caught. These must be the entities controlling the flow of time, the ones who hold the curse in place. Myra's gaze hardened. If the city's life force is bound to them, then breaking the curse won't just stop the clock sit could unravel everything. The chamber trembled faintly, as if reacting to their presence, the ticking accelerating into a frantic heartbeat. Outside, the city's clocks seemed to respond, their chimes growing louder, more urgent. "We can't ignore this," Elian said, standing tall despite the weight pressing on his shoulders. "This is what we've been searching for. The truth. But at what cost?" Myra asked softly, her voice tinged with fear. "If we pull these threads, the city might collapse." Elian looked toward the projection again, the mechanical god's eyes glowing with an intensity that spoke of eternal vigilance and unyielding order. The ancient curse was no mere legend, it was a binding contract, a prison forged from the very essence of time. Yet, beneath the dread, a spark of hope flickered within him. If the curse could be broken, if the chains that held their fates could be shattered, then perhaps the city could breathe free for the first time in centuries. "We have to try," he said firmly. "For the people, for the future." Myra nodded, determination replacing doubt. Together, they began to document everything, the inscriptions, the mechanisms, the secrets of the chamber. Each revelation deepened their understanding, and tightened the bonds of their resolve. As they prepared to leave, Elian cast one last glance at the glowing forms of the mechanical gods, feeling the weight of destiny settle heavily on his shoulders. "The path ahead is dark," he murmured, "but we must walk it." The door closed behind them with a resolute thud, sealing away the chamber once more, but the knowledge they carried could no longer be hidden. The city's fragile balance had been irrevocably disturbed, and the hour of reckoning was fast approaching. Outside, the steady ticking of the clocks continued, but beneath the surface, time itself had begun to shift. The workshop lay shrouded in the muted glow of twilight, the heavy scent of oil and metal hanging in the air like a tangible presence. Ilian stood near the great workbench, his fingers deftly tracing the intricate gears of a half-disassembled clockwork mechanism. The soft ticking of dozens of clocks filled the room, each beat a heartbeat of the city itself. Yet, beneath this rhythm, an undercurrent of unease stirred deep within him. Footsteps echoed softly against the stone floor, deliberate and measured. Elian looked up to see Master Caldor entering, his tall figure casting a long shadow across the scattered tools and cogs. The older man's face was a map of time itself, fetched with lines of wear, worry, and years of unwavering duty. His deep-set eyes, sharp and unyielding, fixed on Elian with an intensity that made the young apprentice's skin prickle. "Elian," Caldor began, his voice low and gravelly, "we need to speak." Elian's heart quickened, a mixture of anticipation and dread tightening in his chest. He nodded silently, setting aside the delicate timepiece as Caldor approached the bench. The master's gaze swept across the workshop, lingering on the myriad mechanisms that powered the city, each one a testament to their craft and the fragile order they upheld. "You've been digging where you shouldn't," Caldor said, his tone grave but tempered with a hint of sorrow. "The city's clocks are not mere machines. They are the pillars of our existence. To tamper with them lightly is to invite chaos." Elian swallowed hard, meeting the older man's eyes. "I only seek to understand," he replied, voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "There are irregularities, patterns that don't fit. I believe the clocks hold secrets we cannot ignore." Caldor's expression tightened. "Secrets, yes. But some knowledge carries a price. I have lived long enough to see what happens when that price is paid without caution." He stepped closer, lowering his voice to a whisper that seemed to echo in the stillness. "The curse that binds us is not an enemy easily defeated. It is a delicate balance, one maintained through sacrifice and vigilance. You must choose your path carefully, Ellie. To challenge the order is to risk everything we've built." The elder's eyes softened momentarily, revealing the weight of his own burden. "I was once like you, curious, hopeful, but the deeper one delves, the more one understands how easily the threads of fate can unravel." Elian's gaze dropped to the timepiece in his hands. The broken gears, the faint inscriptions hinting at mechanical gods, it all called to him louder than ever. "I cannot ignore what I've found. If the clocks are chains, then we must break them." Caldor's sigh was heavy, almost a surrender. "And yet, to break them is to risk the collapse of all we hold dear." A long silence stretched between them, punctuated only by the steady tick of the clocks. Then, with a sudden sharpness, Caldor's voice cut through the quiet. "Be warned, Elian, there are forces that will not hesitate to use betrayal as a weapon to protect the status quo. Even those closest to you may turn." Elian's breath caught, the gravity of the warning settling deep within him. "I understand," he said quietly, "but I must try." Caldor nodded slowly, the lines of his face hardening once more. "Then prepare yourself. The road ahead is perilous, and the cost will be greater than you imagine. As the master turned and left the workshop, Elian was left alone amidst the ticking gears and whispering shadows. The city's fate and his own hung precariously in the balance. The first tremors of a coming storm rippling through the very fabric of time itself. Yet beneath the weight of warning and doubt, a spark of resolve burned bright. Elian knew that to walk the path of truth was to walk it alone, and that sacrifice was the price of freedom. With steady hands and a heart full of defiance, he prepared to face whatever lay ahead: betrayal, danger, and the uncertain dawn beyond the endless ticking of the clocks. The workshop's door closed softly behind the master, the sound swallowed by the night. Outside, the city's magical timepieces continued their eternal dance. The pulse of a world bound by time, fate, and the fragile hope of those daring enough to challenge both. And so the chapter of warnings ended, but the story of rebellion was only just beginning. Elian's footsteps echoed softly on the cobbled stones as he followed the twisting alleyways of the city's underbelly, where gaslights flickered like dying stars overhead. The air smelled of oil, dust, and something older, something that whispered promises and threats alike. His heart thudded in rhythm with the distant ticking that permeated the city, a steady pulse that now seemed to quicken with each step toward the unknown. The shadowed doorway loomed before him, a threshold not just of stone and wood, but of a new reality. He hesitated a breath, fingers brushing the soot on his sleeves, before stepping inside. Within, the air was thick and warm, redolent of burning candles and metallic temps. Sylvan stood waiting, eyes sharp and molten amber, like a predator and protector entwined in one. His worn leather gear bore the marks of countless battles, and the small clockwork charms dangling from his belt clinked softly with his movements. Elian, Sylvan said, voice low but steady, "We've heard whispers of your curiosity. It's what the city needs, those willing to see beyond the ticking facade." Elian swallowed, feeling both the weight of expectation and the flicker of hope. "I want to understand," he replied simply, "to free us all." A ghost of a smile touched Sylvan's lips. "Then you've taken your first step into the shadows where freedom breathes." As they moved deeper into the hidden chamber beneath the city, Elian's eyes adjusted to the dim glow of enchanted cogs and softly humming gears that lined the walls. Maps sprawled across tables, dotted with cryptic symbols and routes through the labyrinthine city. At the center, Mira crouched beside a workbench, her fingers deftly assembling a delicate mechanism. Strands of silver streaked her dark hair, catching the glow like strands of starlight woven into shadow. "Myra," Elian greeted, relief washing over him at the sight of his steadfast friend. She looked up, eyes bright with that familiar spark of fierce loyalty and pragmatism. "We've been waiting," she said, voice tinged with a mixture of urgency and comfort. "The city's unrest grows. The chronarch tightens his grip, and the clocks are beginning to falter in ways no one can ignore." Sylvan nodded, tracing a finger along a map. "The resistance is growing, but so are the dangers. Factions within the city guard are fracturing, some still loyal, others questioning. We must act swiftly but carefully." Elian's gaze flicked between the two, the enormity of the task settling like lead in his chest. "Where do I fit in all this?" "You," Sylvan said, "are the spark. The apprentice who dares to question the gods of time. We'll teach you to harness what you know and to fight for what you believe." The days that followed blurred into a steady rhythm of secret meetings, whispered plans, and stolen moments in the labyrinthine clockworks beneath the city. Myra's inventions became lifelines, devices that could disrupt sentinel patrols or decode temporal rifts. Elian's hands, once tentative, moved with growing confidence, assembling and dismantling with a newfound purpose. In the quiet moments, he wrestled with doubt. The faces of those he risked mirror, Sylvan, even Master Keldor haunted him. Was rebellion a path to salvation or destruction? Each decision carved deeper into the fragile tapestry of the city's fate. One evening, as the distant toll of the central clock tower echoed through the chamber, Sylvan gathered the rebels. His voice rose above the ticking, weaving a story of lost freedoms and the heavy chains of obedience. "We stand at the edge of time itself," he declared, "bound by curses not of our making, but not beyond our breaking. Together, we reclaim the hours stolen from us. Together, we become the masters of our own destiny." The group responded with quiet murmurs of assent, the energy in the room shifting from fear to fierce resolve. Elian felt it stir within him, the courage to face the impossible. Later, beneath the muffled hum of the city above, Elian and Mira shared a rare moment of calm. Their whispered plans mingled with the distant ticking, a lull in the storm. "We're risking everything," Mira said softly, eyes searching his. "Because it's worth it," Elian replied, voice steady. "For freedom, for truth." The shadows outside deepened as the city held its breath. Somewhere beyond, the gears of fate continued to turn. But now, with rebels in the shadows, the clockwork might just begin to change. And, as Elian's thoughts drifted to the path ahead, a single question lingered in the silence. Could the fragile alliances, forged in darkness, withstand the coming storm? The ticking beat on, relentless and eternal, as the dance of time and rebellion began anew. The workshop was steeped in the muted symphony of ticking each clock, a heartbeat sustaining the city's fragile pulse. Elian sat hunched over his workbench, the scattered gears and cogs before him blurring in the flickering candlelight. His soot-smudged hands trembled as he held a delicate escapement mechanism, the tiny parts whispering secrets of time itself. Yet tonight, all the precision and order felt like a cage tightening around his chest. He sighed, lowering the gear to the wooden surface. The question that haunted him was no longer about the clocks or the curse. They were facts he had come to accept, but about himself. Who was he beneath the apprentice's mask? Was he the obedient student, the faithful servant of Master Keldor's teachings? Or was he the rebel whispering of freedom, the spark kindled in the shadows of the city's winding alleys? Elian. The voice broke through his reverie. Mira stepped into the dim room, her dark hair streaked with silver strands that caught the candlelight. Her eyes, sharp and fierce, scanned the cluttered workbench. "You're still here," she said, a hint of both concern and admiration in her tone. "You should rest." He shook his head, managing a faint smile. "Rest feels like surrender these days." Myra approached, pulling a small, intricate device from her bag. It shimmered faintly, infused with the slow pulse of forbidden clockwork magic. "This might help," she said, her voice dropping to a whisper, "but it's dangerous. Every time I use it, I feel weaker." Elian studied the device, awed by her skill and the risks she bore for the cause. "We don't have the luxury of safety anymore," he murmured. "Not when the chronarch tightens his grip." Their conversation hung between hope and dread, a fragile balance mirroring the city itself. Myra's magic was a beacon in the encroaching darkness, yet it carried unseen costs. Later, in the shadowed corner of the workshop, Elian found himself face to face with Master Keldor. The older man's gaunt features were etched with worry and resolve as he spoke in a low, measured tone. "Elian, you tread on dangerous ground," Keldor warned, his eyes searching the apprentice's face. "The city's peace depends on order, on the clocks, keeping time steady. Without them, chaos reigns. But what if the order itself is the cage? Elian countered, his voice firm despite the knot tightening in his stomach. What if breaking free means risking everything? Kaldor's jaw clenched, a flicker of pain crossing his features. Freedom has a price, one you may not be ready to pay. Their words held the weight of impending betrayal, a fracture forming in the bond that had once seemed unbreakable. Outside, under the flickering gas lamps of a narrow alley, Elian encountered Joran, the city guard captain. The scar along Joran's cheek caught the dim light as he regarded Elian with suspicion. "You're walking a dangerous path," Joran said quietly. "The Chronox laws are absolute." Elian met his gaze steadily. "And what if those laws are chains?" For a long moment, the city's ticking heartbeats seemed to drown the silence between them. Then, a reluctant understanding flickered in Joran's eyes. The tides of fate were shifting, carrying Elian forward into a realm where loyalties blurred and choices weighed heavier than ever before. The path ahead was uncertain, but the spark of rebellion burned brighter in his heart, hope entwined with dread, a fragile promise of change. As the clocks ticked steadily on, Elian made a silent vow to embrace the unknown, to challenge destiny itself, no matter the cost. The city's future and his own hung in the balance, poised on the edge of a turning hour. The endless dance of time had begun anew, and with it, the fragile hope for freedom. The air in the workshop was thick with the scent of oiled metal and burnt candle wax, a familiar comfort that now carried an unmistakable edge of danger. Elian's fingers trembled slightly as he adjusted the tiny gears of the device he had hastily assembled, the faint ticking in time with his own heartbeat growing louder in his ears. Outside, the city's usual hum of life was punctuated by the sharp, unyielding clank of clockwork sentinels, unyielding enforcers of the Chronox, will closing in on their position. "They're coming closer," Myra whispered, her voice taut with urgency. Her eyes darted to the narrow windows, where the faint blue glow of the sentinel's eyes sliced through the gathering dusk. "We don't have much time," Elian nodded, swallowing the lump of fear lodged in his throat. "We have to stand our ground. If we falter now, the city will remain shackled forever." They moved swiftly, ducking behind massive gears and levers, the heart of the city's clockworks, their sanctuary and their battleground. Myra's nimble hands worked furiously, rigging an intricate trapper mesh of pulleys and spinning cogs designed to ensnare and disable. Sparks flew as she connected the final wire, her face illuminated by the flickering flames of a nearby forge. "This will slow them down," she said, determination etched deep in her features, "but it won't stop them for long." Suddenly, the heavy footsteps of the sentinels echoed through the cavernous space, their metallic limbs reverberating with relentless precision. Elian swallowed his fear and gripped the device tightly, a contraption that emitted pulses capable of distorting the flow of time for brief moments. As the sentinels rounded the corner, their glowing eyes fixed on the intruders, Elian sprang into action. He leaped from behind his cover, activating the device. A shimmering wave of distorted time rippled outward, and for a heartbeat, the sentinels' movements faltered, their gears grinding against the invisible force. The battle was fierce and unforgiving. Elian dodged sweeping mechanical arms, while Myra darted between shadows, deploying traps and distractions with precise timing. The clashing of metal against metal rang through the workshop, punctuated by the hiss of steam and the sharp scent of burnt circuitry. In the midst of the chaos, Joran arrived, his imposing figure cutting through the fray. His eyes, hard and resolute, met Elian's for a fleeting moment, a silent acknowledgement of the rebellion's spark amid the oppressive order. When the last sentinel finally ground to a halt, immobilized by Mira's trap and Elian's device, silence fell like a heavy cloak over the room. The rebels were battered but unbroken. Breathing heavily, Elian climbed the narrow spiral staircase to the city's clock tower, Mira close behind. From their vantage point, the city sprawled beneath them, a glittering labyrinth of magic and machinery. But tonight, the lights flickered erratically, the steady pulse that had once marked the city's life now wavering. "The mechanical gods are stirring," Mira murmured, her voice a blend of awe and fear. Elion's gaze hardened. "Then we must be ready. This is only the beginning. The clocks may tick, but the time for change has come." The night air was thick with the weight of what was to come, a somber mixture of hope and dread. As the city's heartbeat faltered, so too did the fragile peace that had kept its people bound. Elian's rebellion had ignited a flame, one that would either burn away the curse or consume them all. And as the endless tick of time marched on, the dance between fate and free will began anew.